friends, it's Tracey and Violet from Tea Time with Tracey and Violet, and I'm sorry I have not had a video up probably 4 or 5 days, but it's just been a crazy few days, and kids going to camp and all this kind of stuff. If you follow me over on Nova Scotia Living, you'd see. But I thought, I just got done making part of supper. It's only 12:03, lunchtime now. I'll go in and get the other kids some lunch here shortly. But I wanted to spot a tea because I need a spot of tea. And today I'm having some of that lime and ginger senses tea one of my friends sent me. I'm excited. I haven't had this in a little while. I had been sent some a while back, but I drank it all, and now I got some more. So I'll show you the girl I brought out today. I forget if she's been out with you guys or not, but she was there singing to me and she wanted to come out and play. So look at this beauty. Look at this beauty, right? She has gold up around the top, and you see that flower inside? Beautiful. So when I take a sip, I can see. So on the back though, there's nothing there, just like on the front. But she has gold like right around where her boobs would be, and down around where her waist would be, and then she has some down there where her feet would be. Yeah, beautiful. And you can see the top, they're like waves. It's not like just a perfect, well, they're perfectly wavy is what it is. So yeah. And then I like on her arm off to the side, there's gold there. There's gold here. And I like how the top looks almost like a leaf. I don't know if that's picking up. Well, like, get out of the flowers. I'm telling you, she loves the flowers. And then this is her skirt, or her pedestal. Beautiful, with all the gold rings around. And again, she has these beautiful little waves there too. So she comes all the way from Paragon, HM the Queen, and HM the Queen Mary, Fine Bone China, England, registered. Looks like 1648 XX. You can see down there. Beautiful. So, and I'll show you the teapot. I got a new one out today. Well, new to you. Look at her. Just look at her. At a brief glance, you'd think that she's, you know, oh, what a pretty teapot, you know, just run-of-the-mill kind of, you know, soccer mom kind of teapot. She looks like Mrs. Potts, like she's shaped like Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast. These are tattoos she has on her shoulders, or her cheeks, or whatever. And she has like those shaved designs in her head and her hair. You know how people have cool designs shaved in. And then look at her ponytail. Yeah, now the top kind of looks like the top of a pie or a basket, but really it's, you know, tracks from the buzzer on her head. So yeah, I've let this tea steep for, gosh, 10 minutes or so. So I'm just going to pour myself some and have some tea, or have nothing at all, whatever you want. If you could be here in person, I'd pour you one too. Yes, I would. So oh. It's a rainy day here today. It's not raining now, so I thought I'll come outside. I wanted to go up in the attic, but I was just like, I'm tired. I'll just go outside the front door. That way Violet can get a bit of fresh air and all that sort of thing. You hear all the crickets? Or the, yeah. Hear them? They're here for you. They're here for you. So I'm just going to have a little sip. It's hot. I'm telling you, this hits the spot. I love this kind. My friend who sent me this, she sent me 2 boxes of this, and then 2 boxes of a different kind, but the same brand, like Senses. I can't get that here in Nova Scotia, or I've never found it. One of them is apple cinnamon, and another one is an apple something, and I forget, but I'm going to have those like come September and stuff when I'm doing my tea book chats with you. I've read a few scary novels, and I can't wait to talk to you about them, but I have other books I want to talk to you about while it's still August. So, yeah. I'm on that kick now. I still love my dark romance. I still love all the other genres, but right now I'm trying to scare the bejesus out of me. I really am. Oh, that's delicious. I didn't have a chance to review these, but I have to say, well, let me show you the books first. This is a duet series, or duet story. King and Tyrant. All right? But there's 7 books in the official King series. And the first 2 books in the series has to do with this fella right here. His name is King. And this is his part 2 of this. Yeah, so this book, I believe, starts off, I forget how old King is. I've read this probably a little over a month ago. And after I read these 2 books, I have to say, I ordered the whole series. Like, right off the bat, I'm just like, this blew me away, and it just totally grabbed me. So I can say right off the bat, I highly recommend this without even talking to you about it. But this series is done by T.M Frazier, and I have never read anything by her before. And I love when I find a book or a movie or a TV show or something or a song, you find it and it was a pleasant surprise. That's what this is. Now, this is a dark romance series for sure. Like, there's a lot of things in this, but this book starts out, King had just got out of jail. He was in jail for one reason or another, and he had been away for a few years. King is probably in his late 20s, I believe, and he had a rough childhood. He was raised with a single mom who was not very attentive, addiction and all this sort of thing, abuse, neglect, whatnot. It starts off, I believe the first scene is when he's a child in a playground, and he sees this young boy, this funny looking boy who's dressed in like a bow tie and suspenders and stuff like that, and he's always being picked on, and this dang ass bully is beating the crap out of him. And usually King wouldn't pay 2 minds to things that are going on in the schoolyard, because he just didn't give a flying F about stuff. But for some reason he intervened and stopped this bully, because, you know, King is king. And from that moment on, this young scrawny little pipsqueak of a boy followed him around right up until adulthood. They became best buds. They had sat down, and when they were in the playground after the fight, they drew, well, his friend name was Preppy, and he has books in this series, so you learn about him too. But Preppy, he was really peculiar and strange, and he'd look like somebody like Urkel, you know what I mean? Only a little white boy like that, you know, just, he was a funny fella. And him and King wasn't a big talker. Preppy talked all the time. He had a notepad and drew out, this is what we're going to do when we grow up, and this is the house we're going to have. It's going to be up on stilts. It's going to be down by the river, and down on the beach, and so on and so on. Then it fast forwards to when King just got out of jail, and he's moving back. Him and Preppy had this place together, which, lo and behold, turned out to be just like the plan they had made when they were younger. Only it's not like a big fancy beach house that you might think that's on a beach. It's not. It's under a bridge on Logan's Beach. It's a rough looking ticket, but it's theirs. It was theirs. They both started out with nothing, and they built this little kingdom themselves. So it might look like a big house up on stilts down by the river that they kind of renovated but half finished, and they lived in it. And King was doing tattoos out of just like a beat up room in this house that they had. All right, that's a quick little nutshell of how this starts off. Now let's flip to the heroine in this story. Her name is Doe. Starts out with Doe because she is a scrawny little girl, well, not a girl, like a young teenager, who has amnesia. She doesn't know who she is, how she got where she was. She's living on the streets. Apparently, she was found one day in the alley. They brought her to the hospital, and yeah, they couldn't find or identify who she was. So eventually she was let loose from the hospital, and she didn't know anybody, didn't have anything. She hooked up with this prostitute. Yeah. This prostitute was also around her age, and she was a junkie, really, a junkie. So Doe, who didn't do drugs, didn't know anybody, hung around with this junkie. Her name was Nicole, or Nikki. And it doesn't get into their relationship very much in the beginning. You realize she's, she hangs around with Nikki because she doesn't have anybody. She's out on her own like that with Nikki for months, and she's starving, like literally skeletal starving. Like she's starving for food. Like Nikki is whackers crackers out of her mind because she's hardcore on drugs, which is a sad story in itself. You learn about this later on, but Nikki is suggesting to Doe that she should go to one of these biker parties, like motorcycle biker parties. And Doe, who was very skittish and shy and scared, she was like, Nikki's saying, if you hook up with a biker, he's going to take care of you. You just need to be sexy looking when you go to these parties, so they take a shine to you, and then they'll take care of you. So they scheme this little plan. Doe is very uncertain about this. She's never done anything like this before that she knows of. Like, she doesn't know her history at all. So they steal some clothes from this thrift shop, and the clothes are way too big for her. They're like short skirt and stuff, but she's really a walking skeleton. Like, she's really skinny and starving. And they make their way to this party. And this party is at King and Preppy's house. It's a welcome home party for King. Okay? Now, King and Preppy aren't in this motorcycle group, but the third best friend, Preppy, King, and this third party, his name is Bear. Bear is the son of the president of this motorcycle group, and they have parties at King and Preppy's house sometimes. So they end up finding a ride there, and things occur, which I'm not going to divulge all the nitty-gritty, because there is nitty-gritty in these stories. Nikki goes off and does her thing, and so she's there scared in a giant party of bikers outside. Like, there's a bonfire outside. It's nighttime. She's dressed in these scantily clad clothes that she has to double up and tie in knots so they stay up on her. And this Bear guy, who is a giant bear of a man, who's friends with Preppy and King, they kind of all grew up together, he kind of encourages her to go upstairs to cheer up his friend King, because King is upstairs in one of the bedrooms. He doesn't want to take part in this. Like, he's not mad that the party's going on, but he's not the partying sort. So Doe, with the direction of Bear, goes up these steps and finds the bedroom that King is in, and she's shy, like she doesn't know how to come on to him or anything like that, and he's telling her to go away. What are you doing here? You don't need to, you obviously don't know what you're doing. Like, he's kind of an arsehole, mean and rough and scary looking. He's covered in tattoos and all muscled from top to tail. And she tries to seduce him, but she doesn't know what she's doing. She really doesn't know what she's doing. So then he flips the switch, and then he really intimidates her. Oh, you think that you can handle me? You think you can handle me? And backs her into the wall, and nothing serious happens, but she's terrified, and he's like twice her size at least. And then he's like, forget about it, and he leaves the room. So she is left in his bedroom. Eventually Nikki comes looking for her, and she finds her in this room, and Doe's really upset. She was like, she couldn't do it. She didn't, and she's starving. Like So Nikki starts rummaging through King's room, and Doe's trying to stop her. Like, what are you doing? You can't do that. You haven't seen this guy. This guy's scary. You don't want to mess with him. You don't want to take his stuff. And Nikki's looking for Violet. Nikki is looking for money, or drugs or whatever. Doe was thinking possibly maybe there's food here. I want some food. And just hold on a second. Violet's barking at the neighbors. Stop, you loud mouth. Anyways, yeah. So as Nikki is pulling out drawers and making a big mess, Doe is standing there like scared, shaking, like, oh, we need to get out of here. We have to get out of here. Who comes through the door but King and Bear? And they're both very intimidating looking men. And Nikki bolts for the window, and she's halfway out the window. And of course King and Bear don't realize Doe wasn't doing any of this too. And Nikki, halfway out the window, and as skittery as she is, she hauls out a gun and fires. Ends up hitting Doe. It doesn't hit her like a fatal shot, but I think it grazes her ear, if I recall. I forget, her arm or something. I really forget what it was. And Doe passes out, like she just passes out. Nikki gets away, Doe passes out. And then Doe wakes up tied to King's bed. So, yeah. The story goes on from there with King trying to find out who Nikki was, and they end up tracking her down, but when they find her, she's already passed away for one reason or another. So all who is left is Doe, and she has to pay back the money that Nikki ended up getting away with. But Doe doesn't have anything or any money, or doesn't know who she is or anything like that. So she's terrified. So she's tied to King's bed. I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but it just was like hook, line, and sinker. After that point, a relationship, not like a loving kind of relationship. You get to know the characters. You get to know Preppy really well, and he's fan-friggin-tastic. He's crazy. Like, he is crazy. He's a grown man now. He's not quite as big as King, but he's, he can handle himself. He still wears bow ties and suspenders and dresses in these vibrant colors, and you know what I mean? Like, he's just, that's who he is. And he's a sick son of a gun, but he's really friendly and really nice. And when King realizes the physical shape Doe is in, he has to take a step back, like, oh my God, like this girl is starving. She's literally starving. And Preppy kind of steps up via King's direction to, like, go bring her some food so she can have something to eat. And King surprisingly has an attraction to her, because usually the women he bangs or something like that, wouldn't be this meek little, no tattoo, just plain Jane looking little girl. It would be like a vivacious, you know, biker chick that was tattooed from top to tail too, or something like that, that's willing to do everything in the book, if you know what I'm saying. So he's freaked out, like, why do I feel this way about her? He doesn't ever really go and talk to her very much or anything like that. She's there with him for, I don't know, maybe a week. I really can't recall. Not very long. And he decides to let her go. Just let her go. Let her go, because he's like, why am I feeling this for her? And it's toying with his emotions, because ever since prison, well, ever since his childhood, really, he struggles with emotion, because he just never had any nurturing at all. So he plans on taking her out, and he doesn't just automatically let her go. She goes out with him. He tells her to come, and she thinks that she's going to go and get killed, because she heard that her friend Nikki was killed. He's taken me out to go kill me. So as they're leaving, she kind of escapes. Now, really, she couldn't escape, because she's in no... Oh, there's a hornet. There's no real way she could really escape, but she got away a bit. He found her, like, lickety-split. And it's a giant rainstorm, and it's like in the woods kind of thing. Like, they're not living near people or anything like that. Yeah, he takes her to the ground, like, tackles her to the ground, which knocks the wind out of her and things like that. And he feels that connection that he's been feeling, and he's like, that's when he sets her free, because he didn't want to do anything with her, because he felt like tearing her apart and ravishing her all at the same time. So he thought best to just let her go. Violet, come here. Just to let her go. Violet. Oh. Anyways, so she goes. She doesn't have shoes on her feet, I don't think. Or maybe she does, but she has nothing. Like, she's a pitiful state. Pitiful. Oh, is this a man dropping some books off to me? I'm expecting a Amazon order with some books today. No, it's not. It's the guy across the road. Anyways, she makes it a ways, and it's a long ways from civilization kind of thing. It's a long ways, like, and during the day it's super hot, and she is struggling. She finally finds this building smack dab in the middle of nowhere, and eventually some old dirty bastard, excuse my language, finds her half passed out on the porch of this place. Like I said, this romance is dark. He attempts to have his way with her, and she thought, oh, this is the end. This is the end. And she almost wished she was back with King at King and Preppy's house, because at least she could get something to eat there. And, well, somebody has second thoughts, and after some things, she ends up back at King's. And I'm not going to say too much more from that, but I have to tell you, this story goes on like that. Like, there's so much. I just found my emotions were wrapped up in this, like, and to be honest, it was dirty enough. It wasn't too dirty. It was dark enough. Pretty brutal. Like, it wasn't there. It was the whole story. It wasn't just like all about those two. It had, like, Preppy is a big character in this story, in all the books. Bear is a big story in all the books. There's other people too, but those are the three main ones. So Doe, and you can see where it goes, because obviously Doe and King eventually form some sort of a relationship. It's not like the ooey gooey lovey kind of thing. It isn't. It really is not. But they have a connection. And it almost felt real. Like it felt real. Like it could possibly happen. That's why I think I liked it so much, even though it's a fictional story. It's not real. But I was invested in this, and really when I was done those, I automatically ordered the other 5 books in the series. And the next 2 books have to do with their friend Bear, and then the last 3 books have to do with the friend Preppy. And when I was done that, I was heartbroken. I'm like, oh my God, I can't go on with not having another, you know, book. But it turns out there's a few other books. They're not officially in the King series, but there's characters that are in those books that have their own books. And I've read one. It's called Smoke, or Up in Smoke or something. I have another one, something Rage, and another one about the bridge they live under, or, you know, I think that's a novella, and another one, number 9, I think. So I have those. I haven't read the other ones. I plan on it, but right now I'm on a horror kick, so I'm going to save those juicy nuggets for when I'm back in this swing of things. There's so many books I want to read. Like, I want to read the Tilly Cole books too, but I have those. I want to read scary stuff now. But anyways, the second book, I can't. Well, let me read the back of the first book. I should have did that in the beginning, and I keep forgetting about that stuff. So, yeah. So, homeless, hungry, desperate. Doe has no memories of who she is or where she comes from. A notorious career criminal just released from prison, King is someone you don't want to cross unless you're prepared to pay him back with blood, sweat, sex, or a combination of all 3. Well, it's so tasty. King's future hangs in the balance. Doe's is written in her past. When they come crashing together, they will have to learn that sometimes in order to hold on, you have to first let go. And yeah. Yes. Now, I don't want to talk too much about this one. Water or tea. But isn't that, I even like the covers. Like I just love T.M Frazier. Everything I've read of hers, I love it. And I look forward to the other books. I really do. I've loved every single one. This one has to do with another chapter. It's all the same timeline. Like, it doesn't skip ahead next year or 5 years down the road. No, it's all the same story. This could have all been done into one, but I like that it's into 2 because this leaves you on such a cliffhanger. I'm telling you, the day I was done this, I was expecting this to be delivered. So I had a portion of like 3 or 4 hours. I'm like, when is that truck getting here? When is it? I need my book. I couldn't do anything else until I got this so I could devour it. And I'm not joking. Seriously. And I think I read this whole thing in one night. Like, I was just, they're not super long books. They're like 279 for part 2. But they get everything in it that you need to get. And, oh, it's just wonderful. It's just wonderful. This one's 301 pages. So, yeah. I highly recommend this if you've never read them. If you're into dark romance, because there is some brutality, there's murder in this, there's sexual assault in this, there's there's captor-captive in this, there's, swearing, and there is death of loved ones in this too. And I'm telling you, there's a scene, like a chapter in this, I almost cried, and I don't cry. I'm not a crier. I'm really not. It broke my heart. I was just like, I can't believe this. I wanted to throw the book. And again, there's not very many books. I can't even think. I was so upset that it happened in this. So upset. not even going to tell you. So there you go. But anyways, I really enjoyed these books. And I told you a little snippet. Like, that's the first little bit of book 1. There's so much more in this. So much more. And then to add this on top of it, like, I'm just warning you now. You're going to want to read the rest of them because you need to find out what happens. This doesn't leave so much on a cliffhanger like the end of this one, but it gives you a window into what Bear's story is, and it's a doozy too. It's a big old doozy. Yes, it is. So I'm going to end this now so I can go in and make my other children some lunch, because I'm surprised they're not out here yet. There's a big old bumblebee there. It's 12:34, so I have a little tea left in my pot here. I will be drinking that, I can tell you for sure. And Violet's keeping guard. So anyways, I want to say peace, love, and happiness today and every single day. Please like, share, and subscribe if you so choose. But if not, that's okay too. I still love ya. I still want all the happiness in the world for each and every one of you out there. I certainly do. I really, really honest and truly do. Yes, I do. Yeah. Look, you can't even hear the crickets now. You hear the cicadas. Like the crickets stopped. Yeah. They took over. Anyways, guys, with that, I'm going to say have a good night or have a good morning. And I'm going to try real hard, because the next books I think I want to talk about is Bear's books. Like, I want to do this whole series. And right up until Up in Smoke, I think. So, yeah. Anyways, yeah. Have a good night or have a good morning. And I might see you tomorrow. Bye. Bloop.